Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our Critical Connectivity from Remote Mountains live demo. My name is Scott Goldie. I'm a product marketing manager here at Dejero. I'm going to be facilitating today's live demo. Joining us today from Purgatory Ski Resort in Colorado are my Dejero colleagues, Rory McCabe, Channel Sales Manager, and his cameraman for the day, James Kay, our Business Development Manager. We will also be joined with a couple of special guests from La Plata County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Zach Calhoun, and with Ski Patrol at Purgatory Resort, Blaine Woods. A little bit further down the hill here, Rory's going to actually stop and interview our first responders who are going to be simulating a rescue. So I just wanted to give you a bit of the landscape for today. Of course, because we are out here doing this as a live demo, we have been informed that Ski Patrol might be called away for a live rescue. So there's a chance here that Blaine might have to go and do that and not be able to join us. But that's one of the things that happens during a live demo. So just a couple of web keeping or housekeeping notes here for you before we get started. Our webinar is going to last about 30 minutes with around 20 minutes of live video in the field with Rory, and we'll have plenty of time of about 10 minutes or so for questions. The recording and the presentation deck are going to be available on dejero.com soon after the session. And if you have any questions at all at any time, just use the Q&A function in Zoom, and we'll be sure to answer your questions as we go. Now, we're going to join Rory and James at the top of the hill.
Hey, Scott, thanks. Yeah, we're coming to you live from the top of Lift 8 at Purgatory Ski Resort. As I mentioned before, we have the Director of Ski Patrol, Blaine Woods. Give a nice little wave to our friends here.
Hi, everybody. My name is Blaine, Purgatory Patrol Director.
And we have Zach Stubman, one of our gracious volunteers from Ski Patrol.
Hello, everybody. My name is Zach.
And then we have Lieutenant Zach Calhoun.
Deputy.
I'm sorry, Deputy
Greetings.
Calhoun.
Gotta dial it in.
I don't want to get in trouble with anybody later on, right? I gotta still drive in this county. Yeah, so we picked this location because Ski Patrol had identified it as a challenging communication spot. So from our side, we're just looking to go through and address a multi-trauma scenario with an injured skier and talk about how mutual aid works between the Sheriff's Department and Ski Patrol. So we'll be keying up here. They're going to have a mimic call in. They're going to deploy down, and then shortly thereafter, Blaine and Zach Calhoun and I will follow down. All right, have them keyed up, and let's get after it.
Sweet.
That's great, Rory. So
That
as you
one
can see here,
we have a multi-system critical on Booze Road. Second. Please send a patroller, toboggan, and all the critical trauma gear.
All right, while we're doing that, just as a quick overview, it's about 8,000 injuries a year in Colorado from the skier side. All right, so Ski Patrol is getting geared up here to get down. Like I mentioned, there's over 8,000 injuries annually by skiers on mountains in Colorado annually. All right, Purgatory Ski Patrol is one of the most advanced and qualified ski patrol groups in the state. They have EMT on staff, firefighters.
Yeah, we primarily run BLS, so basic life support, EMT team, where we also have a lot of advanced life support providers of probably 15 paramedics. We have 3 nurses. We have a doctor on staff. In our abilities, we're able to run full scenes like you would see generally out of an ambulance. We have a lot of medications that we can do. We also carry some narcotic pain management, so we can actually transport people that are in severe pain and able to help dial that pain down to where we can actually get them into our toboggan and then get them to the higher care that they really need. Our job is really stabilize and transport, but we do have a lot of tools in our back pocket that we can send out the door to be able to help these calls.
So no one wants to see anybody injured on the mountain. This is a place that you can feel a lot of confidence in those who are going to help and support you from a ski patrol perspective, and of course with their mutual aid from the Sheriff's Department. All right, so they're gonna shoot down to location B. And then our friends Blaine and Zach are gonna join them, and we'll be joining them shortly. So I'll step out of your way here and let you gentlemen after it. All right, Scott, if you want to talk a little bit about our scenario we're in, from
Yeah,
a
definitely. I'm
communications
going
perspective,
to,
we're gonna go
yeah,
on
for
mute.
sure. I'm going to let you guys go. So I do have a bit of a coverage map here that'll show kind of the area and the cellular coverage that we're looking at. But before I share that screen, I'm just going to let Rory and James head down the hill just to kind of give you a bit of visual here of the type of live video streaming here that they're able to do as they head down the ski run here. But I will share my screen and just wanted to show one quick slide here that's showing the coverage that they're actually getting while we watch this video. So what you can see here is a cellular coverage map of all the available carriers at Purgatory. That pink star is representing Purgatory. So in that area is where Rory is now. And the signal strength is being represented by a color range from dark red, which is unlikely to have any kind of connection at all, up to a dark green being an excellent connection. So as you can see, a lot of this area is either red or yellow, or there's a few spaces between the different carriers available where there's even a bit of light green. And typically, to be able to send reliably any kind of HD video, you would need below a minus 60 dBm or a dark green on this map. So this is just meant to give you kind of an idea of what kind of coverage with any single carrier you're typically going to get out here. But as we rejoin Rory down the hill, you're going to see that how Dejero's smart blending technology is actually providing a reliable connection in this challenging environment. So with that, Rory, if you're you made it down there quick, we're going to throw it back over to you if you're ready.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, just gotta get a glove off.
All good.
All right, so kind of what I saw, just go down blue and then into Bordeaux. This is the black run. Hopefully the camera did a good job and justice show us our little pitch and topography change. And this knuckle here, openly, yesterday when we were practicing and coming through and looking at the scenario, I popped a ski and actually skidded out right here myself. It's a very probable area to wipe out. And we just kind of walked in the scenario, and Blaine's gonna talk to us a little bit what they're doing, what they're assessing, and how they work with the skiers.
Hey, T8 dispatch. We have a 62-year-old male, multi-systems trauma, unconscious, unresponsive. We are going no active bleeding, difficulty breathing, but positive loss of consciousness. So basically what we have behind is we have a 62-year-old male who fell, is unresponsive and unconscious. Zach behind me is
Trauma, positive loss of consciousness. We have flight for life and fire rescue en route. TA 15 minutes.
we have multi-systems trauma going on behind where Zach is kind of assessing. If we had the additional resources, we would bring them in, hopefully an ALS provider. Unfortunately, right now on the backside, we don't have an ALS provider station. We've got a few calls also going on that have taken them out of service. So Zach, being a single resource BLS provider, is going to manage this multi-systems trauma on his own. I would be in the position considered the incident commander. So I'm making all the communication calls that Zach is asking for. Zach can focus on patient care. I focus on getting him the resources that he needs. So I'm calling over our radio system, asking for helicopter, ambulance. Our dispatch person is then calling those additional resources to then deploy for mutual aid to get this patient to the care that they actually need at a hospital.
So in this scenario, we'd be looking to do a medvac.
Yep.
Helicopter lift as
Oh yeah.
okay.
Anytime we have major critical trauma, if we got blue skies like today, they're getting a flight out, especially if we're on the backside of the mountain. Transports out of the backside from toboggan typically are snowmobile hauled out to the front side. So if we're in this location, we talk about the golden hour of care. So we want to try to make sure that and that's a golden hour to get them into surgery. So we're trying to expedite our treatment as fast as we can and get them stable so we can get them out into the helicopter. So that's what Zach is doing here with a helicopter being able to land at the bottom of our Lift 8's landing zone. They would be able to shorten that care window so we don't have to take the time to transport them to the front, ski them down, get them in an ambulance. We can cut about 20 minutes off that time frame.
Okay. So we've got Zach Helton here from the Sheriff's Department. Zach, we were responding in a mutual aid situation like this.
Yeah.
You'd help do the call in for the medvac airlift, correct?
I think that's realistic, yeah, because I just, I don't want to get my hands too involved in the medical side of things. Not exactly qualified, but whatever we can do to kind of expedite the process, because if it's a 20-minute window, if we could make that 18 minutes, even that could be, so a substantial amount of time. So just, we want to be not hands-on, but in the pot.
Yeah, and if we had a sheriff's deputy here with us, I would send Zach here as our landing zone person.
Yep.
So they know where all the landing zones are.
Yep.
I go, hey, Zach, you're going to go get the landing zone set up and you're going to communicate with the helicopter. Every communication I'm going to relay through him, he's going to transmit to them.
Yeah.
Or if they land and we're not there yet, he can be kind of the go-between on our communication for the medical treatment side.
What's some of the information that you're looking to to transmit out to your helicopter airlift?
So kind of the biggest thing that we're looking for are environmental factors initially, right? If we've got wind, if we've got storm, or if we've got, what is almost a bluebird day, they still want to know that. And then also kind of what to expect as far as the patient goes, right? Like I've already, just by listening to these guys, I kind of have a better understanding of the situation and I can effectively communicate that to the helo, and then they're able to just work. So you kind of, just kind of want to be as efficient as possible.
Sure.
All right.
No, it's okay. Hey, you're all
Yeah, we're
real and active here, so we appreciate and chatter's fine. We expect you're working with us and we appreciate that.
no, absolutely.
So in your setup, what I'm hearing is getting the information assessed from Ski Patrol, correlating that out to your helo.
Yep.
You're looking to also provide in certain instances your GPS location, any imagery,
and pings, and kind of really get it dialed. Especially if we kind of start getting into low vis situations, we can drop a ping. Yeah, it's super helpful for the the helicopter operators. Absolutely.
So on our shameless sales pitch side of things, right? The blended connection that our hardware can provide with our software algorithm can help you get better, more real-time video, audio, and imagery access back into your other resources.
Absolutely, 100%. Because when we have these mountainous environments, our radios only do so much. They're 800 megahertz, so they're going to towers. And sometimes, if it can't spot a tower, we're going to have issues. And then also, if we do have a signal, we got to understand that at any time, there's at least 2 agencies using one radio channel, and it could be as few as 6 guys on the channel, or it could be upwards of 20. We never know. And so we can't, bog things down, but we also need to be able to effectively communicate. So we're always looking for tools to kind of alleviate that stress and that overload should it occur.
Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate everybody running through it. No, that's fantastic. I'm just getting a quick time checks to be respectful of our marketing folks here.
Yeah,
we
you're
got
at 15 minutes,
left in the
Roy.
calls Scott?
You're at 15 minutes, Roy. We're halfway through.
Well, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate all of this. Like I said, got lucky. It's a bluebird day with 8 fresh inches of powder on the mountain. And as Zach mentioned, there's a lot of calls happening at Ski Patrol. So, your folks that are running through the scenario, if you want to have them board up and head out, we can get them back on shift, and we can sure we're not distracting for anyone's own personal safety.
Pack it up and go back to duty.
We're not above
Thank you, Zach,
jokes.
for making this possible and helping.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank you so much. Hey, so Scott, we got plenty of time for questions. Anybody that has them for Ski Patrol, the Sheriff's Department, or wants to ask about what Dejero is doing with its smart blending technology on the side of the mountain here in rural, remote southwestern Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to throw them into the Q&A at any time, and we'll answer them here as we go. Got one that just is mentioning it's a really good demo. Just wondering, how is it that Dejero ensures this reliable connectivity in these areas with the poor signal strength? Like obviously you're on a pretty remote ski resort, and I was showing the coverage map earlier. So maybe if it's something that you could highlight, kind of how we're doing this with such poor signal strength.
Sure. So in the current device, you have the Engo 3. It has 4 cell radios inside of it. All right, it's taking each cell radio and whatever the service might be have. So I think Scott mentioned we're looking at like a negative 90 plus dBm from an RSSI. It's the strength of the device connecting the tower, right? But then there's also the actualized throughput you can do. And I believe we were looking at roughly 12 megabits per second in this scenario. So we're on the edge of each network, which means that no network by itself is really standing well. Now, they do their due diligence and everything, but you can't really overcome the strength of the signals and the throughput they can do. So how we take data, we transmit it across multiple different links, right? Or in this instance, that would be carrier connections. And we're doing it at the packet level. So we sequence them in numerical order. We are real-time checking the latency, the jitter, and the behavior of each connection. And we're sending packets accordingly to get the least latency possible to our cloud server, which reconfigures everything, puts it all back together, and sends it back to you here who are watching it in real time. So that's how we're getting and sending data. So we can take the challenged parts of the network and build it into a functional network. And in this instance, we're doing it across 4 different cellular radios.
Yeah. Thanks, Rory. I've got another question here for you. How many individuals can be connected to Dejero at any given time?
It depends on the make and model you're using. Off memory, geez, I want to say it's like 30 some users on the Engo 3. But you can fact check me in that one. I know it varies, can go up to 128 depending on which appliance that you have. Currently, we actually have 4 separate devices connected to it right now simultaneously.
That's great.
Yeah, you got a nice wind gust going on.
Yeah, another question for the search and
The wind
rescue.
gauge over here is just going nuts.
If
Yeah,
can you
what's that
hear me,
question?
Rory? Yeah, question for SAR for search and rescue. Do they ever use drone video to do like grid searches out there?
They're asking if you all ever use drone video for search and rescue.
So I know that they do from our side of things. We haven't started incorporating drones for the finding patient side of thing. One thing that we have used are marketing folks who have their FAA drone pilot license. We use them to capture pictures of, we do documentation after major incidents, and we'll have them do an aerial photo, and then we can actually draw out on the aerial photo kind of path of travel from the skier, snowboarder to where they were injured, where we found them, and kind of describe the scene. So that's how we would use it currently in our function. Zach, on the other hand, probably.
Yeah, so our search and rescue specifically has drone capabilities. Even our fire and EMS teams are super in touch with their drones. And then we have a handful of drone pilots, realistically, a pretty surprising amount. It's got to be close to 10 at this point. So it's roughly 1 per shift that we've got, and they're able to deploy. We have daytime drones, nighttime drones that have, night vision capabilities, infrared, thermal, even Deputy Matthews over behind us is one of our drone pilots and is super capable, and we find ourselves deploying them pretty frequently, which is awesome. Whether it's in search aspect, a medical response, or bad guys acting up and we gotta chase them down. We use those frequently.
Yeah, our future goals for some drone usage here for the resort. And then as all the terrain that you can see behind me is actually part of our cat ski operation that we run in tandem with the resort. So one thing that the drone could be super helpful for there is when we go out to do explosives mitigation work and being able to fly the drone, kind of covering the area, being able to look for, is there anybody in the path that I'm about to set off this 2 to 5 pound explosive, plan on triggering an avalanche that is heading towards them. We need to clear the scene so that we're not burying anybody unintentionally. So that would be our usage for drones, clearing avalanche paths, and then documenting critical care situations.
Yeah. It sounds like a great way to help keep everybody on patrol, skiers, civilians in general safe. I appreciate it. So the question, Scott.
Yeah, I've got another one here I can touch on as well, but it's asking what security protocols are in play here. So I think if I'm to assume it's just overall kind of a security question we get sometimes, we do use 256 AES bit encryption. We're also in process for FedRAMP and expecting that process to be completed a little bit later this year, Q3, I believe. But if there's anything you need to add, Rory, I just thought I'd jump in with that.
No, I mean, so the question they asked internally was just asked about our security from our data connections, and they're just talking about 256-bit encryption. They were talking about our FedRAMP process. These are just general security processes the federal government will pass down to ensure that the data stays encrypted, protected, that, frankly, when you're in the business of saving lives, we don't necessarily need everybody taking away from your opportunity or respectfully protecting civilians' data as well.
And our radio system is digitally encrypted. We here run on a digital-based radio system, and so we're able to at least encrypt it to the point where looky-loos can't dial in and start listening in like the old analog channels used to be.
So no more police scanners for us, huh? Okay.
Yeah, and then we also we don't transmit patient demographics over radios. We try to minimize and just say the facts. 62-year-old male complaining of chest pain, blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
We don't say that Zach Calhoun is injured, his birthday is this, blah, 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 because that doesn't need to go over the radio. That's not something that we would communicate anyway. So we try to limit the amount of personal demographics transmitted on the radio.
So whether it's coming through your radio system or our data connection, nobody needs to be able to wish Zach happy birthday. Yeah, he does take presents, so that's good. Any other questions there, Scott?
Yeah, I got one more so far. Just also to give you a time check. We're just coming up on 24 minutes now, so we got a few minutes left for any other questions. But it's around how does the equipment handle extreme weather conditions or challenging terrains? Obviously, you're in some pretty extreme weather right now in a way, so it's pretty fitting to come to have that question.
So on the NGO side of it, it's a fan-based system, right? And it's actually contained, you can't see it, right? In front of the camera or below the camera, it's contained within the skier's backpack that to help installation ensure that. That's at our gateways, and our future gateways are either IP40 or plus rated, right? So if you get into the IP54, IP67, you talk about water, shock resistance, some other things that are really appropriate to these sorts of scenarios. And weather, it can go down to, I think it's negative 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm sorry, negative 70 degrees for Fahrenheit and 140 positive. But it does run the range between our gateways, and all of those specs are actually listed on our website if you want to go and download it.
And also, I know we didn't really mention it here, but the question around, is satellite an option in this scenario? Like a
so satellite would be an option, something in a small form factor. You have to think about how you're powering and what those satellite powering requirements are. But an Ethernet connection could plug right into an NGO or one of our gateways. If it's powering up, it plants it instantly. If you already have it powered up and you plug it in, it takes about 15 to 20 seconds to start blending that satellite connection, which is really helpful, especially when you get deeper into some of their area where terrestrial coverage fades out to non-existence, right? So, but you really want to try to use satellite when you need it, not if you need it, right? So, if you need it, when you need it, you want to start using satellite. But we have a lot of great partners out there that help you cost manage those sorts of scenarios so you can get the communications you need without over indexing on your communications budget. And I know that's something that we've talked a lot about, is how do you minimize the use of the most expensive connection you have, but what can also be one of the most critical ones. And it's because we can aggregate cellular together, but then blend in satellite when you need it, you can not overuse that resource. All right, any other questions?
Great. No, that's all the questions I've got right now, and we're just coming up 26 minutes, so we're just under time, just under the wire. So,
Perfect.
no more questions. We can let you go. Oh, I got
Well, we
one.
want to say thank you again to everybody for tuning in.
Yeah.
Special thank you to Purgatory Ski Patrol, Director Blaine Woods, Ottawa County Sheriff, and Deputy Zach Calhoun.
All right.
Yeah, thank you
That's
for
great.
coming out and tuning in and letting us put on a little bit for you.
You know, and as a positive, the four of us do get to go ski down the rest of this run
Yeah,
and enjoy some fresh turns.
I was just looking down and man, those turns look real nice. I'm excited to leave this windy spot and go make some telly
Yeah.
turns.
I mean, they're at work, but James and I are happy that this is one of the days that this is actually work for us.
$1 an hour and all the powder you can eat.
All right. Hey, thanks again, everybody. We look forward to talking to you next time.
Thanks, Roy. Thanks all. Enjoy the rest of that run.
Thanks. Take care.
And thanks everyone for joining us. We'll have the recording available soon on our website. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.